Hey, friends. Welcome back to Strength Happens.
We are super excited to be with you today. It's been a little while. We're going to talk about why it's been about a month since we last posted, but we're super excited to be back and we're celebrating our 10th episode of Strength Happens. So,
Yeah.
woo! Round of
Who would have
applause for
thought?
us. Yeah, who would have thought? Oh, a kind of a side project of you and I working together and wanting to find a way to connect and share a message. And I'm excited. We've been getting some good feedback from families reaching
Mm,
out, saying they're listening and how this has meant something to them. And even if it were just one family, I'd still want to do this every day. But I
mm.
feel like we're really kind of starting to hopefully find our market and find people who really need to hear kind of what we're talking about today.
Yeah, and we're definitely approaching today differently. We have no script, no plan. We're just going to talk off the cuff. And I guess you're just going to join one of our typical afternoon conversations. But we thought we would share a little bit about what we've been doing and, why we haven't really found the time to sit down and chat.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I was feeling really guilty when we hit the 2.5 week mark and we hadn't recorded
Yeah.
anything. And we have an episode planned to record, but you were going through a lot. I was going through some things, and then it just got away. And you kept saying, it's okay. Give yourself some time, give yourself some grace. But I think as women, as moms, as professionals, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to be that in the bag of chips for everybody else. And it was
Well, I
hard
think
for
too, we
me.
set up a precedence that we wanted to do this every 2 weeks because that helps us also. It helps us plan, it helps us have an expectation, and it gives our listeners an expectation. But I think the good thing is that we both know what our lives are like and how busy and complicated they can get at any given time. And sometimes, like we've talked about self care, we need to give ourselves grace that we also need to take a step back sometimes, and that's what we had to do.
Yeah, and it's okay, and it's okay to take that step back, and I appreciate that. I mean, it was rough that we were both going through things at the same time. It's important, as you said, that self-care to really put ourselves as a priority, but also our families and what our families are going through, especially your family right now. You guys are going through a lot, and I'm so glad you could take some time for your family. You're still going through it, but we'll talk about
Yeah.
that today, and I think that's reality when you raise medically complex kiddos. This is the norm for us, right? And I don't think unless you live in this world, do you really understand that you can get hit with a whirlwind of stresses and tests and diagnoses or whatever it might be at any point in our lives, and it's overwhelming.
Being the caregiver, you're being put in positions of making decisions and trying to create a plan, all while trying not to be overly emotional about it and trying to take a step back and not feel overwhelmed.
Yeah, actually, Friday was Halloween, and I had a rough day. I mean, holidays are always hard and wonderful. At the same time, I love to celebrate holidays,
Yeah.
but they're always a little bittersweet after losing a child. I have this damn email that comes through that says your
Mm.
iCloud storage memories
Oh,
for this
yeah.
day, and I
Mhm.
never look at them after doing it once. And I was like, "Oh, it's gonna be happy memories. I can handle that today." I have college students coming in trick or treating in my office, and I opened it, and it was Hallie's last Halloween, and she was so happy, and she was sick, but you could see in her face how sick she was, but she was laughing in a picture dressed as a minion,
Yeah.
and and I lost it. I had to get up and walk out. Nobody was in my office at the time, and I went and walked around Temple Green, which is this area at my campus, and off and on through the whole day, I just lost it. I just can't pull back, and for me, that's been one of the things that's been hard this past month, 6 weeks. I think being the 10th anniversary of her passing, all these memories are coming up because I think those are more the 5-year, 10-year on
Yeah, those are
Facebook,
the ones
or
that yep.
they highlight those, and it was her last year walking on the earth, and it's just been a lot more emotional for me. And Neely's birthday is Monday. She's 22, her Taylor Swift birthday, and she has an 8 a.m. appointment with a pain specialist, and
Yeah.
they can't get her pain in control. And for me, it brings back horrific, horrific memories of Hallie's last few years of looking for pain specialists, and it sucks. And you hate to see another kid go through that, and I don't think it's the same thing. I think we know now what it
Mhm.
we're getting a better idea, but those fears come back, and we've been dealing this
Absolutely.
for a while, and especially the past 4, 6 weeks for Neely, and I just haven't had time beyond work to do anything else.
And that's a lot of when you're dealing with new diagnoses. I think you're having to process all that information because it becomes so overwhelming. And if you can't separate it and take a step back, then you lose yourself. That's kind of similar where all of this new information keeps coming in, coming in, coming in. And I'm like, when's it all going to stop? And every
Doesn't
week I'm bringing her to another specialist or okay, we did this, but now we need to do this because of that. Then, we're pushing off treatment, but yet I'm I'm like, okay, is that good that we're pushing off treatment? Or am I just I don't know. It's a lot of you don't know what the best thing to do is and you're just doing the best you can, but it's very overwhelming.
When you said something earlier, and you said, "We just have to deal with it. We have to push through and deal with it." And
Mhm.
that's the hard part is
Yeah.
I know how much you guys have gone through the past 6 weeks with Morgan and everything, and it's one thing to say we're just gonna push through, we have to deal with it, we can't focus on the emotional aspect right now,
Mhm.
because if you look at that emotional aspect, you don't wanna break down and not be able to come back to where you can care for your child, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like that resonated with me right when you said that, even though I can't remember exactly what you just said 5 minutes ago. Um, because
It's
it's
your
so true.
old lady brain.
Exactly, it's the menopausal brain. It's so true though, because if we stop and allow ourselves to feel emotion, it's hard to pull back into where I need to be to function.
Yeah, because you think you're gonna drown.
Yeah. So
Mm,
this past Friday, when I started having that little bit of panic, a meltdown, we had like a staff Halloween party.
mhm,
And at one point, I
mm,
just had to get up and leave and go walk because I knew I was going to lose it. I don't even know why. It just hits you.
yeah.
And I
Well, I
knew,
think memories are hard anyways because they were happy memories, but then you're also dealing with sad that she's not here. So it's that balance of you wanna be happy because you wanna remember those happy memories, but then you're also sad.
yeah. And that, yeah, absolutely. And you just want to celebrate being back to look at your kids when they were little and just be like, oh
Mhm.
my God, that was so fun. Where would she be at 25 now?
Right.
And then you look at your other 2 kids who are 19 and 22, and you're like, "Why can't their lives be easier?" And then all that pain starts to cycle through of,
Yeah.
are we seeing repeat of these things that our other child went through when they can't get the pain under control and their rib keeps dislocating and popping out, and they are crying and texting me to go to sleep because of pain. Those things are just painful to watch your child go through, and then you feel
Mhm.
guilty because it's not your body going through it, you know? But it's a balancing act, but
It is.
how
It's
are
difficult.
you dealing with everything with Morgan right now?
I'm learning to take it one thing at a time. I really just feel like I'm checking boxes. Go get X-ray of her wrist, check. Get an X-ray of the spine, check. Get an ultrasound of the kidneys, check. That's what's kept me kind of just moving forward because I have to do these things.
Is that
We went
helpful?
it helps me because it keeps things in perspective. It doesn't make me feel as overwhelmed. When I had the whole list up front, do we move forward with this medication? The hard part is she has severe osteoporosis at 25. So there's certain medications that they want to put her on. But with those medications, there's side effects. The one that they wanted to do was a daily injection, which that's overwhelming, but it would be for a year. You just do it for a year.
And then you're
Um,
done after that year?
well, you take this one, then you do one infusion, and then that infusion lasts for a year. So the first one is a bone builder, and then the second year is like a maintainer. So
Okay.
it's maintaining the growth that happened.
But
Then you take a 3-year break and then you do it all again. So
is
it's
it
like a
painful?
constant cycle. The bone building process can be very painful.
And you
So Morgan has rheumatoid arthritis, so she already has bone pain, joint pain. And then adding that on is stressful to me. Like,
And can
am I
she
making the right decision?
she has trouble communicating her pain to you too, or does she?
Well, and she doesn't communicate. It
Yeah,
takes a
that's what
lot for
I
her to
would
tell me that there's anything wrong. I usually watch her gait, watch how what she's doing, and that typically will tell me how her body feels.
like getting up and down from the sofa or
Yeah, or just walk into the car. So we did bring her to a PT who gave us a home treatment, which really just walking and doing some weight bearing exercises. But then when we talked to the endocrinologist after her x-rays, her growth plate in her wrist hasn't closed. So now, because of that, we can't do that daily.
that drug.
No. So the next step was a yearly infusion. You do it once, and then the whole year, her bones will start to get
Rejuvenate
stronger. Right.
or whatever.
However, that makes me nervous. What happens if she's going through a lot of pain? The drug's already in her body.
So it's only a one-time drug?
It's a one-time thing. You do it once for the year. The least with the other one, if it was really painful and she was having side effects, you
Could
just
stop
stop
it.
it. This one, the medicine's in there and there's nothing else you can do.
Well, and
So it
no
scares me.
well, no one tells you that part, right? So when you have kids with medical issues, you're the primary caregiver and you're making decisions for their immediate health, but their long-term health,
Mhm.
and it's on you. It's on
And her
you.
livelihood. Like, so
Yes.
if she's if she has a
Quality
year
of
of
life.
pain, yeah, and her quality of life sucks this year, it's on me because I made that decision.
Yeah. And how are you
So
handling that process?
it's up and down. I try not to ruminate too much on it until we are making a final decision. But now, because the growth plate didn't close, the doctor is wondering if there might be a pituitary gland issue, and that's why the growth plate didn't close. So now we have to do pituitary gland labs
Like,
just to
oh,
make sure
yeah,
because they're wondering,
not
like,
an
why.
MRI or anything like that.
Not yet. So once the pituitary gland comes back, then I think we'll make a decision. But we've been doing this since August. So August was when our first appointment was, and they got us in within a week. So to me, they made it seem like it was very urgent.
Priority.
And then now it's taking us months and we still don't have a plan. And every plan that we come up with, we keep having to change. And then on top of it, it also can increase kidney stones.
And she already
And
has kidney
she already
issues.
has a history of kidney stones, but she's on medication to prevent them. I worry that that's an issue. And then we're trying to get the nephrologist. I sent them a message back in September and they have not responded.
About the new medication you need to go on for
Mhm.
osteoporosis, and they still
Yeah,
haven't
asking, and just all I did was ask them. I said, "Hey, can you take a look at the ultrasound?"
they didn't
They
even
want to
see
put on.
anything.
No.
Why is it and, I'm gonna open a whole can of worms by this comment, but why is it, when they're pediatrics, you get so much more responsiveness to when they're adults?
I
Like,
know ped care is like tenfold
it's
to
just
what adult care is.
the specialists, they're just a different breed of doctors than adults, and it's really sad when you have kids with chronic illness and have to go long-term care. It's really hard to find that special doctor, that one, the primary caregiver, and
Mhm.
then the specialist for each. Our kids are
Yeah.
still there. They still need the same amount of attention, and we as a family would love that support
Yeah.
from those
It's like
specialists.
you need a case manager at the practices, like some that oversees, but basically that's what we're doing is we're basically
And
their
God
case
forbid you have a
managers.
full-time job and have to do that too.
Yeah, and
Like,
thankfully I don't. So,
right now, but you
yeah,
might. It's just you've
right.
been back and forth. You've worked full-time with having kids, and you've
Right.
not worked full-time, so you never know
Yeah,
when you will and when you won't, and
and that, like, and right now it's been a blessing that I'm not, just because I've had so many different things between that and then her iron issues.
do you
So,
feel comfortable talking about that right now too?
yeah, I'm an open book.
Oh, and I'm the
Yeah.
one who's drinking alcohol today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I dealt with my stress today, because yesterday was rough and just all the other stuff with my own medical issues, but, I dealt with all that stress by going shopping today, and my husband doesn't listen to this podcast, so I will say I may or may not have spent close to 800 to $1,000.
Every once in a while, you need a nice
Some of it
shopping
was
day.
Christmas shopping ahead of
Yeah.
time, some of it was Jill shopping, some of it was shopping for the house that we needed
Mhm.
stuff. I just waited till I needed a little mental health shopping break.
Well, and you've been out of commission for so long with
I
your
haven't.
surgery.
Yeah.
So, really, you're just making up the past 3 months.
Oh, oh my god, I love how you
Girl
justify
math.
it.
Yep, girl math.
Girl math, girl math. You
Mm,
justify I have not been shopping since August 18th. That is so true.
mhm.
August 18th was my surgery, and I had this is my first shopping day, really, since other than groceries and the necessities,
Yeah.
so
So you're
okay, I'm
needed.
feeling good. I'm feeling good. It's
Yeah,
November.
well, much better, much
Okay,
better.
thank you, Janine.
Sure.
That's what girlfriends are for.
Yep. Support the sending.
I do have to say my husband's so cute. I had a really rough emotional day yesterday, and I came home and he had my favorite Halloween candy, little junior mints that are in orange and black, and then I'm painting my nails as we're talking, just so you know. And he had beautiful fresh flowers, B went out and got for, me per John's request, so the 2 of them
That's
did that,
sweet.
and then I went shopping today, and I came back, and John was taking a little siesta, and he comes in and he goes, "Oh, that looks great on you. Oh, that's really cute. That's very Christmassy." And I was like, "Who are you talking to?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm just channeling my inner Janine. Did that help since you didn't have her to go shopping with, the home goods?" I was like,
Yeah.
"That meant so much. Thank you so."
So when I come up, we'll have to go shopping.
Oh my god, please, how long are you guys coming for?
No week off work, I think. And I would say we'll probably be there 3 or 4 days in Massachusetts.
I'll take time off work, but I won't interrupt with your family time, but I'll just sit and I'll hover in the wings, and when you have free time, I'll be like, "I'm here.
You'll be
I'm
that
here."
creepy doll in the corner.
Put little, buttons in my eyes. I'll be, "Coraline, just call me Coraline."
Oh, fun.
We'll have fun.
Yeah.
We'll have fun.
Yeah, because then we can do our Christmas exchange.
Yay!
Yeah.
We'll
Our
find a
gift.
cute little place to go have lunch and
Yeah, last time with that, I liked the little Sturbridge village that we went to. That was cute. But I would do something different.
bang you a
Do
pair of boots and a new jacket. I buy, like, 2 things to add to my winter wardrobe.
well, and your winters weren't extremely cold. Like, your first one was mild in comparison, and
Yeah.
then this last year was more snow, right?
We had more snow,
Yeah.
and then now that I go hiking quite a bit, I was gonna drive up tomorrow to the White Mountains to go hiking just for the day.
That's a
Um,
long ride.
it's not too bad. It's like 3.5 hours. At Mount Washington, 110-mile-an-hour winds this weekend, and I
Yeah,
was like,
no.
"Nope, nope, I'm good, I'm good. I'm not quite ready for that," and I ordered a jacket for the heavier winds, and it hasn't come yet, so
You could go to Western Massachusetts. There's a lot of mountains, the
I did
Berkshires.
I did hike one of those over the summer. I have all the winter gear, so anyone out there who wants to go hiking with Jillian in New England, let me know. Jilly Poo would be happy to join you. Alright, I digress, I digress. So Morgan and her anemia, what's going on with that? So her labs came back a little off. This has been very
Yeah,
stressful.
this has been off and on. We've always known she's had anemia, but it got low enough that they wanted us to do an iron infusion. So we did the iron infusion. She took it like a champ. It was 6 hours.
Go
they were surprised
Morgan!
she lasted. I'm like, "Oh, she's a professional. She's
Give
been
her
doing infusions for the
her
last
whole
10
life.
years,
Give her an
between."
iPad and her favorite
Yeah.
shows.
So
Yeah.
I'm like, "She'll be fine. She has her iPad." And then when we went back for follow-up after a month, they're still concerned with her white blood count, but it could just be her medicine that's causing it. But they're suggesting to do a bone marrow biopsy. So that's a little bit scary. And I just couldn't make the decision that day. I didn't expect that conversation. I was hopeful that everything
Everything
was
would be
gonna kind
okay
of
with
balance
the
back out, but they would like to do the biopsy to just to rule out any type of blood disorders, cancers.
but
Um,
what are you concerned about?
um, missing something, missing that she has a blood cancer. I just feel like to not do it.
An option?
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
because I feel even though it makes me uncomfortable and I'm afraid the results.
Mm,
And
that's tough.
so, but if I ignore it and something serious is wrong, then that's on me.
And
I
that's
have to do what's best for her.
and that's the hard part. She's almost 26 and it's all on you.
Yeah, and so when she had said it,
And I know Steven takes equal responsibility with you. I don't mean it that way.
I said to her, I'm like, I can't make that decision right this second because I just wasn't ready for it. You know, when they throw something random at you that you didn't go in prepared. Well, and we talked about it the first visit, but the doctor didn't seem concerned at all that that's the route that we were going.
She thought the infusion would be
Mhm.
impactful and then that would be it and we're done.
Yeah, and her neutrophils were low still, and that was concerning to them because that's what used for fighting illnesses. So now I just have to call and schedule that.
So are it sounds like to me that the test itself is scary and the results are scary. Both are scary.
Yeah, and I was worried about the pain. They did say that because she has osteoporosis, the bone marrow biopsy probably won't even hurt her because the bone is so soft. So, because of that, it would be easier for her. But I don't want her moving or I don't want her freaking out. She
Or the
doesn't
fact that she has
normally.
trouble communicating with you. Like, she doesn't always express when she's in pain, so the fact that she could be in pain and you don't know it,
Yeah.
that's a hard one. Just said something and it just really hit home with me. It's funny the things that'll come up when you say something, but pain sucks, and you don't want your kid to be in pain.
Yeah.
I remember Hallie's last year, the year before she died, she went out in the garage and we had sidewalk chalk out there and she was having an exceptionally hard night. And we had traveled the country to find treatments for her. And I go out in the garage later and I was like, what was this? And she had written, I hate pain. I'm in pain all the time. And, sometimes they can't always communicate what their body's going through, and they felt that pain that all the time that
Mhm.
it becomes their norm, but it's so significant that that was one of those moments where I felt like I failed as a parent because it was like, how did I not know how much pain you were in?
I think it's hard because I think it was their norm. I know for Morgan, I don't think she's ever known any different. And
Yeah,
I
that's what I
think,
was thinking.
and I for probably was similar for Hallie.
Pain
Yeah.
sucks, and it's hard as a mom to watch your child go through that, like, to deal with that pain and not know what they're going through, and you're just reading their body language trying to figure out what's going on, and I'm sorry you got
You expect it to be our parents that are going through the pain.
I'll take that, but you're 12, 15, 25. You should not be in
You should
pain
not
all
be
the
living
time.
in a
No,
life of pain, no.
no.
And it seems like there should be a way to fix it, but unfortunately, the ways to fix it aren't always the best options.
Well, and what we're finding with Neely, I know, with pain is they
Mm,
keep passing her off to another doctor. It's like she
yeah.
has back pain and rib pain. She did some tweaked her back a year ago. And when you have Ehlers-Danlos and it can be long-term care with pain. And a doctor would pass her to a doctor, would pass her to a doctor, and she finally went to a PT where she is in grad school. And they're like, I think orthopedists might be able to help you, but you've been passed from doctor to doctor. Let me see what I can do first,
Mhm.
which I appreciate. And she sees a pain specialist on Monday and
Has she seen a pain specialist before or hadn't gotten to that point?
she wants to know the root cause, and I
Right.
think she's so complicated, no one can figure out the root cause. Her back was giving her problems. They did MRIs, they did CTs, they haven't done a muscle biopsy, and then it's radiated to her rib, and her rib literally pops out of socket, and it'll stick up, and she'll do physical therapy for months at
And
a
they don't
time.
think it's just the Ehlers-Danlos?
Well, I'm sure they think that that's the root cause, but they don't know
Mm,
how to treat it. The traditional physical
yeah.
therapy is not working, and there's not a lot of people who specialize in, Ehlers-Danlos. There's not a lot of people who specialize in she's been on a wait list for the pain clinic at UNC for months, and
Mhm.
then they had a cancellation, of course, and they're getting in her on Monday, but it's her birthday at 8 a.m.
Oh. Well, but maybe that will be good because then they
Well,
can kinda help her a little bit,
her
and she'll feel
concern
relieved.
Her concern is they'll just wanna treat the pain, but they won't wanna find the root cause, and she wants to know the root cause. And I'm like, get a steroid injection or anything to try and treat
Has
the
she gone
pain.
to kinesiology?
Yeah, that's her study. Like, that's what
I
she
know, but I didn't know if she's seeing a kinesiologist.
she's seen everybody at this point. So, yeah, we saw a pain specialist, at All Children's for a physiatrist for Hallie for her pain, and he was
Mhm.
phenomenal in prescribing the right dose of medication, and we thought we had the pain under control, and then we ended up in palliative care,
Yeah.
and we thought we were in palliative care, like, really doing well, and then she ended up going into hospice, and I remember they gave her morphine, and they said, "Look, we'll give you morphine every hour, and then you can push this button whenever you want, and it will dose out extra pain meds on top of that
Mhm.
every hour." But it would only allow it to be dosed out every 10 minutes, but she could
Mhm.
push it whenever she needed it. So they come back in 24 hours, and she had pushed it 125 times.
Wow.
And, that's when we realized that, our kids are built a little different because when they finally have the ability or someone is listening to them on their pain scale and they're honest about it, it's heartbreaking to know how much pain they're in.
And I think that they didn't know how to communicate that and that it wasn't normal.
And some kids, like you guys, Morgan doesn't necessarily know how to communicate that pain.
Yeah.
And, you have that ultimate responsibility.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. Sorry. Years.
Cheers. Mm.
You're a good mom.
All I can do is try.
You go way beyond trying, just so you know.
I appreciate that.
But
Mm.
this is why I think having this friendship is so important to me is
Well, you get it. I get it. I mean, it's not the same.
but I don't want you to have to go through it. I don't wanna see Morgan deal with this. When you watch your own child, you never wish this upon anyone else, but then when you meet another family similar to yours, you connect to them so deeply because it's all that we know is we can appreciate what our kids are going through, and when
Yeah.
your daughter aches, I ache. When you ache, I ache. I told
Yeah.
John everything Morgan was going through a couple weeks ago, and he just started crying,
Oh gosh.
and he's
John being all
yeah,
sensitive.
I know. He's like, "Why? It's not fair," you know?
Mm. It's a lot. I think the hardest part is that it's all at once. It's hard to know, like even the osteoporosis. I get that she needs the treatment, but I'm like, well, what if I don't do anything right now?
What is
What if
that
it
gonna
takes
be?
a backseat? I know, but then I'm like, but then watch her break something, and then ultimately it's because we didn't do treatment. So it's that whole. It just. I think it's hard to make decisions when there's a lot going on, and you're trying to determine what's more serious,
You're
what's more
triaging.
manageable. Yeah, it's triaging everything and saying, hey, we really need, like, the iron to me was important, but we've had low iron her whole life. And, she has a condition supposedly of low iron and anemic, but they never treated it because we were never referred to hematology. They just told us, and then I just didn't think it was anything. But then I
You're like, "Okay, we'll
rediscovered.
keep an eye on it," but no one
Right,
says
and now that I know about that, I started questioning more and I started pushing more, and primary is like, it's kind of where she's been for the past, well, years. The numbers haven't changed, but then I'm like, "Yeah, but that number went dropped," and then she's like, "Oh," and then all of a sudden she's like, "Yeah, you need to go to hematology."
immediately, and that was
Right.
what's concerning is when they put that emphasis on, but what if you hadn't spoken up and advocated?
Yeah. And that's the thing is I pushed for that, and then I worried about the iron infusion. Was she gonna have side effects like stomach issues? And then on top of all that, she had bled from her feeding tube 2 weeks ago. So then
I forgot you
dealing with,
guys had
yeah,
that
so
too.
we spent the day in the ER and got no answer, and left the ER and then went to the doctors again that Thursday. And I was glad I talked to you about it because you had reminded me about the Carafate. And I was like, oh, yeah, we have done that in the past. So I mentioned it to the primary, and she's like, well, we don't really like to do the Carafate because it does cause constipation. And I was like, she's
A
bleeding
bleed or a
in her
constipation?
esophagus. And that's what I mean. She has eosinophilic esophagitis. So because of that, and she had lesions and ulcers in her esophagus in
And
June.
they weren't gonna put her on Carafate?
They never put her on anything. No. They did is we upped her Nexium. So we doubled her Nexium, and then what happened with the Nexium is the Nexium caused her to vomit at night because it was just too much meds. So then aggravating it, causing more damage. So finally she said, "Okay, we'll put her on the Carafate." Because I said, "We've been on it before. We can," I go, "even if we low dose it," I go, "maybe because it's oral and it will coat, maybe that will help."
Yes.
So then all of a sudden her whole approach changed. And then she wrote me scripts for that. And then we met with the GI doctor last week. She agreed that Carafate was a good idea short term. You don't want to do it long term. And then she's like, it makes a lot of sense on why there was blood in her tube based on her results from her endoscopy. So at least I feel we have a better idea that that's probably what it was instead of everyone being like, I have no idea.
But you we shouldn't be having to tell the doctors what to put our kids on.
And then she's changing her stomach medicine, try a different protein pump inhibitor to see if that will be better.
I'm gonna
And it
rewind
has healing components in it or something
the
for
new
ulcers.
the new
The
medication.
Prilosec. Mhm.
The Prilosec. Oh, that's what, B was on for years, was Prilosec, on adult dose at 7 months old. And I'm gonna retract what I just said. We shouldn't have to tell the doctors what to put our kids on. We shouldn't, but at the same time, if we do share what we think has been successful in the past, then we want them to listen to us and take it seriously.
Yeah.
I
And
think it's
she did. I will say that she did listen.
I'm
Like,
glad. I'm glad you
once
have a
I pushed a little bit and spoke with knowledge, and that was the one thing I did like about the GI doctor. The main doctor background's peds GI.
peds doctors are just the best. We just had some amazing doctors.
I like her, she listens, and
Mm.
she also said to me, "You know her best." So she felt very comfortable with going with the plan that we set up. So that made me
That is
feel a
the
lot
best
better.
words they can say is, "You know her best and trust your judgment," because you've been advocating for her for 26 years, right?
Yeah. Well, and you spend enough time in the hospital, at doctor's offices, and treating all of these things, you learn something. And I could have been totally wrong, which is fine too. I could have said, "What about this?" And then be like, "Yeah, that's not what we do." Okay. But at least, I want to be able to feel comfortable going and saying, "This is what we used to do," or "This is what we've done in the past when she was a ped," or "I was talking to someone and they mentioned this. What do you think?" And I want them to validate and trust that I'm not just pulling random crap off the internet.
We're not Doctor
It's from
Google.
experience.
You're Doctor Morgan. You know Morgan's body better than inside out, and it ultimately comes down to you're responsible for her. She's an adult, but you are her primary caregiver, you are her health
Legal
surrogate,
I'm her legal guardian. We have to
and you
make these
never
choices.
and I think this is what I've always had is I never
Mm,
wanna look back and regret I didn't do enough or I didn't do the right things or
mhm.
have that second guessing, and after Hallie died, I did go through that spiral of, "Did we do enough? Did we fight
What
it
if?
long enough?" All those things, but ultimately, I know we did, and I think that's where you're at. You have to know you're doing everything you can, but it's such an ultimate pressure that we put on ourselves as caregivers.
Well, and in the past, there have been tests that they've suggested that we said no. When they wanted to test her when she was a baby for Ehlers-Danlos, at that time, all you could do was a muscle biopsy. We had already done a lot of testing at that point, and the geneticist was like, "It's not gonna change what we do." So, we're still gonna do PT, OT, speech, and all of those things.
So why do something invasive?
So
Yeah.
why do something that was gonna leave, like, this big ass scar on her leg for something that may or may not confirm that she had it, and was it gonna change the course of treatment through her life? No. So we were like, "No, we're done." So we've had those moments through the years of things here and there that I'm not just gonna jump and cut her open or do this or put her on this med, and I'll do it to an extent.
Right.
Mm,
And it sounds like you found that balance, and right now it's more testing, and you're willing to do more interventions because 'cause we're at that point where she needs
yeah.
it. Have you scheduled the bone marrow biopsy?
No, I have to call this week because she was supposed to call me this week and she didn't. So I'll call back.
I'm gonna put out good juju. Good juju to the universe for Miss Morgan.
Hopefully, I can get it in before the end of the month because once the end of the month happens, then she changes to 100% Medicaid unless we can get her to stay on her Cigna. Because we've put a letter in, but they say it takes 30 days for them to make a decision.
That's a whole 'nother episode if we talk about insurance and Medicaid and government assisted.
Mm, yeah. So we're hoping.
I love Morgan, I love you, whatever we can do to support you guys right now.
Well, I appreciate it because it seems very overwhelming. We're just in one of those times that's just a lot going on. Decisions have to be made, and a lot of those decisions are out of our hands when it
Yeah,
comes to the insurance part. I'm just glad that I found that loophole. Just researching and just found that they allow, if they're disabled adult, they can stay on your policy longer than
thank
26.
God you found that. Can
But ultimately, Cigna will determine whether or not she falls under that classification based on the paperwork that the doctor submitted. And then it goes to his work, and his work makes the final decision.
when do you find out?
I don't know. They said it takes about 30 days. So 30
So it's still
days.
in Cigna's hands.
No, yes, it's in Cigna's hands. I'll call this week because it's been 30 days. It was September 25th or something like that.
God, you guys have had so much on your plate.
Hence why we haven't recorded.
So let me ask, what are you doing for yourself?
I've been able to run more, which
Good.
helps because the weather's been nice, but I ran, as you know, my Disney Wine and Dine half marathon
One of your kiddos.
with Katie. Yeah, maybe I'll throw up a TikTok on that. I'll have Katie put one
Oh,
together. I haven't done any on it, so I
put
haven't had a
some
chance.
on the Strength Happens TikTok
Yeah,
page so we can see it.
I will. And then other than that, not a lot. I do have some plans for next week for a girls' night. We're going to watch a movie at someone's house.
Nice.
Downton Abbey?
Oh, whose
Yeah,
house?
Melissa's. And then I'm going to bingo on Tuesday night for Echo. So I have a couple nights, and then next Friday, we usually do
Um,
that Christmas market. So this week, I have a lot of stuff that and then the girls' birthdays the following week. They're turning 21. And then Morgan's is the following Monday. So, and I think I'm going to take her to Busch Gardens for the day.
it'll be
Hmm.
super fun.
Yeah, she likes to look at the animals and stuff.
I'm proud of
Uh,
you for taking care of yourself. I've been
yeah.
trying to, do a little I can't run, but I've been doing a little more hiking. John and I went away to New Hampshire last week, and I hiked a couple of the 4,000 footers. I did Mount Osceola and Mount Osceola East. And I do them by myself, and at first, when I did my first one in March, I did by myself because Neely bailed on me for an
Mm,
injury, of course. I actually really like it. I feel more connected to Hallie when I hike, and I
yeah.
feel more connected to whatever in the world is spirituality to me right now, and I remember I was hiking down I shared this on Facebook, but I'll share it here. I was hiking down, I felt so accomplished. I was already, like, 5 miles in or something. I was like, "I'm
That's
doing good."
impressive.
I was so proud of myself. I had hiked 3,000 feet elevation gain, and I was hiking down. I was like, "Okay, Hallie, I need a sign from you, and I'll put on some Taylor Swift," 'cause Hallie one of Hallie's bucket list items was to meet Taylor Swift, so
Oh,
that was one of our big things. So I hit play on Taylor Swift's new album, and she would have loved the new album because Hallie's a dancer, and she would have loved to dance to
mhm.
Op Opalite or Knock on Wood. She would have laughed at that one. But so right as I hit play and I said, "Okay, Hallie, I need a sign from you," it started to snow,
That's
and
special.
super cool, super cool.
Mm.
So, I find those are some relaxing things to do.
Yeah, I think too that it was good that you and John took a weekend away. Because
Yeah,
to me,
we
that was a huge changer for us, is once the kids were kinda more adultish and doing their own thing, we needed to make sure we were connecting. So we tried date nights or little weekends away here and there, so I'm so glad that you guys did that.
thank you. We're fighting the statistics, right? They're not in our favor. When you have kids with medical issues and in both of our cases, having multiple kids with medical issues, it doesn't bode well on marriages, and then if you have a child who is passed, it adds more weight to those statistics, or if
Mhm.
you have a child that you are in charge of their long-term care, it adds to those
Yeah.
statistics. So I think we're both fighting for what we believe in and what's
Yep.
important, and having each other as friends is really important to me, so thank you for that.
Yeah.
You've really helped me these past few months
Mm.
despite, what you've gone through, and
No,
I
you've
know
definitely had your own personal, with the surgery and recovery was I think as we get older, it's so much harder too. Recovery takes longer. Mm,
I think too, I feel like I've matured a little to be 50 and say I finally matured. You know, when Hallie got really sick there from 2010 to 2015, I really pulled away from a lot of people.
yeah.
And I've learned that taught me a big lesson at her funeral to see all the people who showed up for her, but for us as a family, that I can't pull away. I gotta hold tight to the people that are important. So I'm
I
glad.
think too during that time, don't beat yourself up because you were where you needed to be at that time and your family needed you more and your real friends, the people that know you and knew of the situation.
Well, I'm glad that we can be there for each other in this journey. And we're
Me
10
too.
episodes in.
I can't believe it.
And we're using this as a platform for other families, but also for each other right now as we continue to go through the journey with having kids with medical issues. Doesn't change even if they get older. They still need us, and we're still very active in their lives, and it still weighs on
Yay
the
for
family.
us.
Woo, lucky us!
Yay.
We're some
Fun
cool
times.
we're the fun parents, but we're gonna be there for them.
Hopefully, people enjoy listening to our real life, not just a conversation that we plan,
Yeah,
and that
this is
they find it helpful and realize how much friendship matters.
absolutely, absolutely. And they realize they have a community because 'cause they're not alone. You're not alone, whatever you're going
Mm.
through. Janine and I are your besties too, and we're happy to be there for you guys. So
Yay.
let us know what these past 10 episodes have been like. We've been heard in Taiwan and England, and where else have we been heard? Listen to
Russia,
oh, Russia's listened to us.
Turkey.
Turkey.
Mhm. I think there was 6 of them.
So, and several states in the US, but please,
Mm.
help us get to 10 more. We're hoping to spread this message, not for ourselves by any means. While this is very therapeutic for Janine and I think our goal is we just want to help other families who are going through what we're going through or have been
Mm.
through what we've been
Mm.
through, but didn't have that sense of community. And we didn't have that when we were
Right.
young. We just had each other.
And
So.
not feel so alone.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Especially when we're looking at a restriction of SNAP benefits and restriction of Affordable Care Act and pre-existing conditions. Right now, we need to find that sense of community more than ever.
Yes, we
So,
do. Well,
yeah,
thanks for tuning in,
yes,
and love to see you on our socials. We'll try to change up our socials a little bit, make them a little bit more personal.
we're on TikTok and Instagram at Strength Happens Real 3. We keep saying we're going to do more of ourselves, and then I chicken out. So if someone could give me some advice on how to not to chicken out of doing a live or doing myself, I don't know. I'm happy to learn from
Yeah.
others.
And I'll have Katie put together something from our race.
We'll share something from my hike. So
Oh,
we'll
yeah.
both have that. What we've been using to cope over these past few weeks where we
Yeah.
haven't been posting. Well, I love you, Janine. I thank you
I love
for
you
taking
too.
this time out of your Saturday to chat with me and our audience. And I'm here whenever you need me.
Yeah. And let's hopefully next spring we'll celebrate 20 or 25.
Woo!
Woo!